But I feel like inviting the shop is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Then people will know what's happening.
What's up?
Not too much. It's green. I like our sweater compilation here.
We all have going. True.
And outfits, greenery.
I know. I picked the wrong color apparently. Sorry, I wasn't.
No memo. She did not get the memo.
You guys didn't CC me on that one. How dare you? What's that thing? Oh yeah. Yeah. So thanks so much for being able to join us for the first episode of 2021. Oh, the FedEx guy is just what I'm gonna tell him to leave it at the. Hold on, I'll be back.
So this is our second season of Flat Files, which is pretty exciting because I think we're getting quite up there in episode numbers, but we are also kind of running out of art to share. So we're going to change the format a little bit, and we're hoping that Flat Files will be a bit of a studio tour, and then we will share a couple arts, and then you can share a couple arts as well, and we just kind of get to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Cool.
It's really nice to see you.
You too. It's a sunny day. I feel like we're both sitting in very well lit spaces at the moment.
I feel great in my living room. It is really nice. It's a weird sensation because we don't have any residents. Mm-hmm. All of the spaces in our house we just turned into videography spaces. So there's just lights set up and camera gear all over the house. It's quite fun actually.
And imagining Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, each room has its own designated use.
God, I would love that. If I didn't have to move these lights around, I would be very happy about that.
Amazing. You guys have been very
Flat Files. What I would like you to do is to introduce who you are and a little bit what you do.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I've never done an Instagram live, so this is bizarre. But my name is Phoebe Todd-Parrish, and my Instagram name is Flycatcher Press. And actually only a few people have asked me why it's called Flycatcher Press, and it's because Phoebe is a bird, and it's part of the flycatcher bird family. So yeah. That's why it's called that. And I'm a printmaker. I did a residence stint, I guess, with Chrissy and Kyle at Sparkbox 2 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It's crazy, but time is just like an amorphous blob all around us these days.
It's very true.
Right? And so this is my studio in Toronto. I share it with my godfather, who is a sculptor. So as a printmaker, cool. Yeah, it's cool. So I'll show you his side too. It's kind of split into sides, but the dust from being a sculptor kind of makes its way over here. Yes, very lucky. So I'll show you. This is his side. With all of
wow.
So there you go. He used to paint, but now he just makes sculptures mostly. So
are they bronze sculptures?
What are
this one is bronze, I think.
Yeah, because of
it looks bronze.
Really that one is wearing a hat.
Of course.
That's what happens.
When you have heads in your studio, why not put hats on them?
Exactly. And then there's some cement sculptures, like clay. He used to be a potter, so there's also some pottery.
Oh, cool.
Oh, neat. There's some tall ceilings. This is great space.
Yes, very tall. Yes, very lucky. We have those cool, Toronto warehouse window things.
It's been a dream. For me to have those. They're very, very expensive. The dream has not happened. Love it.
Yeah.
I love that you have a lounge area.
Yes, a lounge area.
So nice.
Does not always look this clean. That's for sure. This was a super good reason for me to clean. And then, this is kind of my area. I didn't make that painting. That's a Peter painting. But yeah, so tiny little etching press there, giant flat file back there.
Yes.
Which is amazing. I mean, that's a good thing about being a building with other people is that flat file. and we picked it up. That is the big boy.
That is a
Super,
nice press.
yeah, it was pretty rough, but definitely painting it blue hid its rustic origins, but works well. It's kind of crazy, like it has this super weird like exposed gear like bike shop situation, which is
Oh.
which is kind of cool.
Do you
But
have to like be cleaning that all the time so that dust and especially with the sculptor being there doesn't get into the gears and then mess the machine up?
yeah.
That answers that.
I do, I'm not super precious about this because it's kind of like a crazy press. Like it has this weird arborite bed. I was watching your other flat files and I was just like laughing. I forget who your last guest was.
Josh?
Yeah, and he had that like heavy, he was talking about his press and with the heavy press bed. And yeah, it's like super weird. It's basically plastic and it's like on these weird plastic runners. It's just all in all a very strange press. So we just let it do its thing. It hangs out. Not too worried about dusting it. But letterpress, on the other hand, I do usually keep them covered. But I didn't think that would be very interesting. Like ghost press.
I
My
know.
whole
Look.
shop is full of ghost presses.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
really weird when you walk in.
Exactly. So yeah, this is the sort of letterpress area. It is, yeah, big. It grows, as
It's so nice. So talk to us about what like each of these presses are and like how they're functionally different from each other. Because sometimes
Yes.
people on here are not printmakers. So
Yes.
this just looks like, wow, that's an interesting object.
giant hunk of extremely heavy metal thing. Let me turn on a light. So
Oh, I love how do you have hardwood floors and his floors are different, or is his side just
Different.
plywood?
his side is actually like such a cool poured concrete thing, but it makes it impossible to keep this hardwood floor, free from. You can see the shoes. Like whenever I go to the washroom in the studio, you can see like my little footprints all the way from the studio. Yeah. So different presses. Just stop me if it's not clear. But this one's and this one are similar in that they're proofing presses. So you print by kind of running the some sort of cylinder over the type rather than this one and the little baby over there, which are platen presses, which sort of function more like a giant sandwich clamshell situation. And these ones, I just put the rollers away because, yeah, you don't want the rollers to be out. Yeah, probably this one is the newest to me, but not the oldest. Yeah, not the oldest, but newest to me, probably from the 50s. It's a challenge-proof press. So if anyone who's watching has been to Sparkbox and you guys have a Vandercook 40 or... Yeah.
We have a 15.
15, yeah.
15.
SP15. Okay. So similar, but also different, like super weird. I'll take out the headphones so that you can kind of see how it works. But the weirdest part about it is that... work. Can you see? Other than my hand?
We can see your hand very clearly. Okay, yeah, we can see it.
The weirdest part about it is that the bed moves.
Oh.
Yeah. Rather than the cylinder, which is the usual thing.
That's interesting. So it functions similarly to the etching press, where like the cylinder's rolling and the bed is moving the information.
That's
Whereas
correct.
like, yeah, so like our press, one day we'll maybe go do something in our own shop, but we don't have internet out there, so it makes it really difficult.
Sure, yeah. I totally got internet out there yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, fancy. The roller would move across the top, so it's like inking and printing at the same time.
Yes.
Which
That's
is
right.
the joy of these kinds of presses, as opposed to like an etching press where you are the inker.
Yes.
So you're like rolling the ink onto your block or your plate or whatever, and then you're putting it on the press, you're registering it, and then you're pulling it through. This one's like got registration built in, it's got inking built in. Same with the little baby presses on the table. Right?
Yes.
You stick the type into the, I don't know what any parts of presses are called, so like, yeah, you stick the type in there.
This is like the
part.
I forget
Chase?
what this is called
Case?
too. Yeah, the chase is actually the thing that you lock up the type in.
It's the big square
The
metal
fun
thing.
part about printmaking is that you can use objects that you don't know any of the words for.
Yeah.
These little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Beep beep beep.
So you put type in that. Letters is
Letters.
You
Yep.
stick wooden or metal letters into that little buddy. You shove it in that part, which I'm sure has a word. And then the ink is on the circular part at the top.
Yeah.
And the rollers are on the part that goes over top of the circles.
Yeah.
Circle singular. And then paper goes in there.
That's correct.
You know, if anybody's watching this and they know what these elements are actually called, feel free to interject and be like, let me give you a bit of a better education.
You're
And
doing
now
great. It's
all
not
know
about
how
the
to do
words.
letterpress.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah, but
It's
speaking
that
of
simple.
like, of kind of weirdly, the press I use the most is this press, which is a LinoScribe proof press. So if you are like think about letterpress or you make line cuts, you can basically make this. It's like very, very simple mechanism. Basically has a hard roller, and you ink the type by hand with a brayer, and then it's kind of funny. It's like, I feel like it's like setting the temperature on like an old oven, and you just adjust the pressure using this. And then you print. So you just run it over the type and make something beautiful.
Love it.
It's good because, yeah.
Can you get a good embossment with that like you can with the other presses? I know that's not traditionally like something you actually want with these prints, but it's a contemporary thing that people really love.
Yes, you definitely can. I'll try to print whatever is in here. I think it says Flycatcher Press or something.
You're like, I'm just gonna print my logo one second.
Yeah, just really product placement. It's really hard to see because it's.
Oh, you can see
You
it
can
though.
see
Yeah.
the little embossment.
Yeah.
Really backwards in our iPhones, I think.
Yeah.
But it's there.
It is
I like
there.
that speckled paper.
Yeah, French paper.
Ah, it's the best.
Yeah.
Too expensive to get in this time of our lives,
Oh my
but
gosh. We just looked at how much lumber costs. Apparently it's twice as much as it was before the pandemic, so that was a fun learning experience.
You have to just
Sweet.
destroy something and build something else from its remains.
Sure. I don't need all the parts of my house.
It's the best way
Just
to do
some.
anything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So do
Go
you mostly feel like you're working with letterpress? Because like the linos that you're printing, are you printing them on these machines or are you printing them on the etching press?
I want to start printing them on the challenge, so this guy, the big one, because they will fit. They're like, I think the bed's like 13 inches wide, and the most of the blocks are 12 inches because it's just sort of easier. The other thing, I mean, like the reason I end up using the LinoScribe all the time is because if I'm not printing like a giant edition, then it
Cleaning?
seems like more work to put ink on these beautiful rollers and then have to clean them. So yeah, it's one of those
Yeah,
things.
I feel the same way. If the
Yeah.
edition is less than, I think it's like 50,
Yeah.
I will do it on another machine. But like, to give you an idea, to like ink up a Vandercook or a Challenger press, like it takes like half an hour, and then to
Yeah.
clean it takes like almost a full hour.
Totally. As opposed to just like, you know,
One
getting a
roller.
tiny little brayer and being like, okay, here's the type for the day. Yeah.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I
true.
haven't been printmaking in a while, so I just often forget the amount of cleanup time, and I'm really terrible at scheduling it in properly. And so it often leaves me very irritated. Because with oil painting, I just grab saran wrap and just place it over top of all the paint. And then sometimes I just stick the paintbrushes into like some kind of like linseed oil or whatever.
Just
And then I'm
let
like, good luck, I'll come back to you later. And like, this is a mess that's for future Chrissy. But you can't do that with brayers. That's just a bad decision.
It's true.
I've tried.
The good thing is I'm trying to start using more like rubber-based inks because you can just like leave them lying around, as you can see, just from a recent, and you know, it works lying around this way. But yeah,
we just got. Are you here for the lack of cleanup, or are you here for the printmaking studio? Because I feel like a lot of artists can relate to the cleanup part. Right.
It's kind of the worst.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's we should all document it. We should start some sort of hashtag that's just like cleanup, and it's just really slow, like not sped up at all. Like no 5 times speed reels allowed. Just real time.
When I was doing the mural painting, someone asked if like I could just post like just the raw like unsped up footage. I didn't even I didn't record it. I recorded it as a time lapse.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I timed it out, and just the painting of the mural was 100 hours.
Oh my God.
And I was like, imagine watching someone paint for 100, like that is serious commitment to watching someone's practice. I love watching shows, and I watch a lot of them, but I appreciate editing.
It's very true. I guess if people consider it like you know, like really, for some reason when you watch something really close up, it's like more soothing than, I guess, because if you see the whole picture, it's scary. But yeah,
That's
I agree.
true.
There's something to be said about like speeding up the process of everything, or like hiding all the stuff that takes a ton of time. Like I think about it whenever I post a video, I'm like, I'm making this look too easy. but that's how it goes, you know?
It is. I think also like when you're doing it day after day and you're like living it, the last thing you want to do is edit it in real time. You're like, oh no, like I don't want anybody to have to watch this.
Then it just becomes a performance piece at that point.
Yeah.
You've made a total other artwork.
It's true. You have that like performance art like curve where you sort of like people are like, oh, this is interesting. It's a new experience. I don't know what to expect. And then you like 20 minutes in, they're like, is this really what I'm doing? Like, is something gonna happen? Like ever? And then, then you end it with some kind of surprise. Like sometimes it's just getting naked. I feel like a lot of performance art that I've gone to is like, and then nudity. Like, don't worry, we will close this out with something fun. We'll be naked by the end. Not all performance art does that, but
or like some sort of terrible feedback sound, like that you're all like.
Like, why?
It's one. I feel like we're just speaking in memes. Like I'm just picturing like Venn diagram memes. It's like nudity, extreme length of time, performance art.
Perfect performance art piece. Yeah.
Slow building like wine, or like kind of that ring you get in your ear.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I think you need to do it that way, though. I've gone to some performance art pieces where they start out chaotic and strong and overwhelming, and then they just maintain that for the entire piece. And by the end, you're like, I emotionally wish that I didn't experience that. Like, I needed a bit of a moment to, like, digest the beginning part and then, like, come to terms with the end part. Where was the middle? Where I could just sort of rest silently.
It's like starting a striptease naked. You wouldn't do that. It doesn't make sense.
It's just people putting their clothes back on.
Sort of.
Anywho, now we're going to share some art.
Yay!
So thank you for the tour. I we really want to start like adding in like people seeing workspaces of artists. And at the beginning of this, we were saying that a lot of people don't have access to their studios right now. So I was so grateful that you could still get into yours, even though technically we're in the like don't leave your house time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I assessed the situation and I was like, there's no one. I mean, the bathroom here. It's all other artists, so I feel like that's the only time I actually go into public. And I was like, I think it's okay. Go to the bathroom once. Leave.
Yeah. Wear a mask. Whatever you have to do. Yeah. Sweet. So we always let the guest pick who goes first. Kyle and I only have 2 pieces to show this week because the reality is we've really like depleted our reserves of art. So we were fortunate enough to get a surprise art package, which we haven't opened yet. So we're gonna open. I love this.
An unboxing.
Anybody wants to send us art in the mail that's like beautiful, feel free. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but like our mailing address is on the internet. Please don't harass us or send us anything really bad or glitter bombs. That's something I watched a lot of people that are like YouTubers that get packages in the mail and they open it and it's a glitter bomb, and like that just seems mean.
Cruel.
If people open things inside their house. I feel like I'd be like chill with an outdoor glitter bomb experience. I mean, maybe it's not good for nature. Maybe they're just not good, actually. I'm going to rest in the glitter bombs.
On glitter bombs.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to go first or would you like us to go first?
I could go first because I have 4 things. So if you guys have 2 things, I have 4 things. Yeah, okay. What should I start with? Okay, I'll start with the 2 that go together.
Okay.
These are 2 letterpress prints from an exchange that I was part of. So if you want to receive art mail, there's a lot of people doing exchanges and like small print exchanges or postcard print exchanges and stuff. This one actually was supposed to happen in September, and I mailed my print in May, and it didn't get to Australia until October.
Whoa.
But it did get there, which is amazing. So like mail is amazing. Like I just think about like this giant sack room filled with stuff, and somehow it still gets to where it's supposed to go. It's like way cooler than the internet.
Like
after
May,
many
June,
months.
July,
Yes.
August, September.
I don't do math.
6 months. Like it took 5 to 6 months for that mail to get across the. Oh man.
Yeah. It was pretty, well, because Australia, I think, shut their borders to planes like in general. So I don't know whether the giant room that I'm imagining was in Australia or whether it was like at some other place waiting to go to Australia. But either way, they did get there. So I was actually part of it at the very last minute. But these are 2 prints. This is one of the organizers, and it's Anne Ong, and her Instagram/business name is Bright Press. And she's just an awesome person. And when I went to Australia, the power of the internet is I just messaged her and I was like, hello, you have a letterpress studio. I am from Canada. And she was like, come.
I like letterpress too.
Do stuff in my studio. And then we became friends.
That works all the time. I think that, like, I've reached out to so many artists that I'm like, I'm a super fan, and they're like, yes, I'm a regular person that just works in the studio by myself all the time. Would you like to chat? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like, how do I just diffuse this weird situation? I'll just invite them to my studio.
Yeah. It won't be more weird.
No. Once I see I'm flesh and blood. And so she made this, and it says love, and it's really nice. And the theme of the print exchange was good vibes, which I just think is cool because I feel like it's funny because I had participated in another print exchange like the year before, and it was like all pretty doom and gloom, and then there was another one that was like pretty doom and gloom, and I was just, because when I was looking through for prints, I was like looking at portfolios because there's the most prints in the least amount of space. And they were all like hope and fear, like inhospitable. And I was like, oh, these are so depressing. But this one is good vibes. So yeah, that's cool.
That is a nice thing to get in the mail. A package of good vibes. Who doesn't want that?
And they had an exhibition in Australia, which is really cool. And because they're small, like they had artists from all over. There's another artist, makes letterpress prints. I believe her name is Reagan Detwiler. I bought another one of her prints. You can't see, it's behind the wall. But and then I just happened to get someone in the exchange as well.
Nice.
But yeah,
I love like layered typeface prints. So this is just like type on top of type on top of type on top of type, creating like the dense color field in the background.
Yeah, it's so
Is it
cool.
all hope? Like, does it just say hope over and over and over again?
Is it a whole lot of hope?
I think it's a lot of hope and perhaps a lot of O's in the background, potentially.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, it's so amazing.
Like
it's so textured. Yes.
When you do an exchange, do you, like, how exactly does that work? So you find them online and then you reach out and say you want to participate, or do you just send in, like, yeah, how do you participate in an exchange?
In this case, because I knew Anne already, she was organizing this with another letterpress printer in Perth, whose Instagram is Fresh Lemon Print. And she just said she was doing it, so I was like, can I do it? And she was like, yes, you can do it. And then anyone else who kind of saw her posting or whatever, they just said that they were interested, and then she sent them the details. Usually that you need to kind of like express interest so that the organizer can create some sort of master spreadsheet and do the math about like how many you need to produce so that everyone gets one of everyone's, or like a specific amount. So I think in this one there was probably like 20 artists, but each person made 20 prints. I don't know, but I don't have a copy of everyone's who participated in this one. So sometimes print exchanges, you get a copy of everyone's. Otherwise, you get like a random assortment of X number that you also make. But yeah, obviously it works well for printmakers because you make more than one.
Yeah.
And then they just sit in your drawer otherwise. But I did another one that was like organized. Maybe people have seen relief conspiracy prints, because there's it's like a hashtag, but it's organized by another artist named Scott Minzy, and it's like a postcard exchange, so they actually are just prints made into postcards. And that one, I think in the end had like 900 participants.
Oh my word.
So I was in the last group, and there were only 19 people in my group, so I made 19 postcards and then mailed them to 19 different people. And then I'm still getting postcards, and I mailed them on like December 10th. So it was cool.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. Maybe I should do some kind of mail art exchange. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea, actually. Okay.
Speaking of mail art exchange.
Let's not make it so that people can see Laura's address. That feels inappropriate. Oh, wow. Okay. What? So we're unpackaging this. So this is from Laura Watson, who was our most recent love letter video. Mm-hmm. And Laura is just like she's lovely. I would highly recommend everybody check out her website. And a project that Laura does is a mail art exchange. So you can mail Laura from, I mean, okay, like take this with a grain of salt because I don't know if things have changed like in the past year. But from my remembrance,
I think she's going to bring her project to a close.
oh no, no. Okay, well you used to be able to literally mail Laura anything, and then in exchange you would get art, like an art package in the mail. But in our little thing, this is all backwards, so why am I even holding it up? It says, after 6 years and 14 installments, I feel that it's the right time to bring the project to a close. I want to thank everyone who has participated. Oh, but I mean, 6 years is a long time to do a project. But now we'll show you what you could have got before. I think you can probably still buy art from her. So, okay, this is what we got in our package. So this feels like almost like a rice paper screen print poster.
Amazing.
Looks like it is 1, 2, 3, like maybe 4 color screen print. And it has a poem sort of around the images of like a collection of little photographs, I'm assuming they're drawings of. This is a personal letter, so I'll just leave that over here.
I love it.
No, it's backwards. I'll flip that in post-production, but...
Oh, this is fun. So the next thing is the zine that Laura made while here. So Laura won our Dawson residency award. So that was like a month-long stay and $1,000 bursary. And we're figuring out how to do awards again for 2021. They're going to be very different, but we missed them and we hated not doing them last year. So we're just revamping them into something different. So this was called For Living Through the End of the World. And I do talk about this project in the love letter video. But it was kind of like a diary-esque project, like thinking about what it would be like to live through the end of the world. So it's very poetic in nature, but also written like as if it is a diary. So Laura's process for like doing this project, and I think for a lot of these, is all of the stencils for the screen prints are just like drawn onto like transparencies. They're all just hand drawn. I think they were drawn with like Sharpie or ink. Yeah. So all the layers are planned out like that. So they're usually like a little sketch, like a color sketch first, and then the stencils are created based on the color sketch. So everything's hand printed. It, again, kind of going back to that initial conversation of it's hard to describe the work that goes into something like this. You know, like all of the paper had to get cut. Then all of these little, you know, this decision to round the corners is like every corner has to be rounded by hand. Then how many layers is this?
3, 2, 3?
3 layers. At least
1, 2, 3. At least 3.
1,
3.
2, 3. Yeah, 3.
How can I count?
Plus books. You have to think about the back and the front.
Yeah, so you have to like plan everything out initially so that you have everything collated in order. And then each layer is printed individually. So if there's 3 layers, every one of these pages is printed 3 times to have all the layers on it. And then you put everything together and you hand sew all of them. It's just like...
So you can see she hand sewed.
Oh my gosh.
And a little saddle stitch.
The preciousness of things like this just... it fills me up with such happiness. Okay, what else do we have? Secrets in Plain Sight.
Little books, especially.
It almost looks... So, like, this is like a little envelope. And, like, maybe this is printed, but it also looks like it's literally pencil. Like a pencil drawing. But it might be printed. But because she's drawing her stencils by hands, it feels like it's hand-drawn.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
It looks like a little screen print with like maybe a gray ink that came off of a Mylar that she drew on. So it has this kind of like pencil, like rubbiness quality. Like
Love
if you
that.
look at like secrets in plain sight is the title, and it kind of looks like it's maybe she did that in pen. It has that quality of like when you're making a mark with pen and it kind of streaks heavier to one side and like half your pen mark doesn't really show up and you're like, why did I buy big pens?
Oh my gosh, there's a tiny book inside this.
A wee
This wee
book.
little book has
It
these,
matches our outfits.
wee little people in the backside.
Oh, it's just a tiny book. You're on the back.
This is to Arts. Thanks to Arts Place Gallery. Arts Place Gallery. Arts Place Gallery.
Words.
So it's called Secrets in Plain Sight. It has a little
Wow.
picture of a cannon.
So it's another little tiny adorable zine that feels like just like literally a pencil sketch.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
This is actually really quite adorable. I like zines.
So this one
It's
feels
amazing.
digitally printed. I don't know what that one feels like. I can't tell. Maybe it's also digitally printed. I don't know. It's so
Photocopy?
precious. It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
And then so the last one is Spell for the End of the World. So I feel like the expansion on so
Love
much
it.
adorable right now, Morgan. You have no idea. Ooh, this paper is nice feeling. It's like got a nice soft, well, it feels soft. Okay, so then this one is also similar. So we have like little writing and these like tender little drawings. And you're getting walked through like a spell for the end of the world.
I feel like I'm getting closer and closer. I'm like,
Yeah, I know. I'm so like, it's also all backwards, but
that's so cute.
let me see if I can like. So, by the world, I mean the earth. By the world, I mean this peace. By the world, I mean this bread so available. I mean this clean air to breathe. By the world, I mean my childhood fantasy of safety, of living comfortably at the end of history. By the world, I mean those 6 or 7 birch trees bulldozed to make space for a new apartment building. If survival is always temporary, does that mean I shouldn't hold things so tightly? By tightly, I mean as if they matter. By tightly, I mean lovingly. That's the end. So, sorry, spoiler alert, ruined the end of this one. But you should get it because it's adorable. And also, I mean, I just got like chills. I really loved that. So, I just love her work so much. So this feels like...
This is a lovely little package to get.
Yeah. So that's our first share that turned into apparently like 6 pieces of art.
A reading. I like it. This is what's happening today. Okay, I have one that sort of, I don't know, it's not the same, but sort of like a book, kind of.
Oh, yes,
this
book
is-
adjacent.
Yeah, this is by Walter Scott. It's a screen print. Do you guys know Walter Scott?
I mean, this drawing for some reason seems very familiar, but the name isn't ringing any bells for me.
They have a book called Wendy, like a graphic novel. This is
Okay.
Wendy. They're all about Wendy's kind of trials and tribulations as a grad student. Well, the last one's a grad student, but the other ones are like just going to art school. And they're amazing. I actually
That sounds
learned-
fantastic.
Yeah, gotta check it out. Walter Scott. I think maybe on Instagram, Walter K. Scott. But I don't know if you can read it. It says it's a brunch spot. So they lived in Montreal, so I think it's kind of based in Montreal-ish.
Okay.
And Wendy says, "Hey, you made it!" And then this character, who comes up a lot in the books as well, says, "I'm exhausted. I just got back from an artist talk in Berlin. I have a video installation showing there." And then Wendy's like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I might show there. My friend knows about this art space in Berlin." And then she says, "Whatever, everything is an art space in Berlin."
We
I
are
would
definitely
say-
talking in memes right now.
Yeah.
This is the episode about memes. And
It's kind of a weird print, but you should read the comic books because they're very funny. Lots of rereadability, I would say. But yeah, I learned about them when I was in Montreal, and I exchanged kind of lives with another artist called Amory Sanford, who also makes
Yeah,
people
Amory
comics.
stayed with us.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she has a great comic collection from Drawn and Quarterly. So that's where I heard about Wendy and Walter Scott.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
I
Whenever
love that. I'm definitely gonna look that up. I like funny, like art school jokes that I'm like, I'm in on the joke. I get it.
You'll just want to like share every frame of the book with someone else who you're like, they'll understand this exact plight. The art
There's
student.
someone on like TikTok. I think they're also on Instagram because I shared a reel that was like an art school critique class reel. Anyways,
Yep.
they're hilarious. Most of their stuff isn't like about art school, but and all of it is funny. But the art school one, I was like, yep, exactly that.
There's a whole other section to art school memes that's going to be online art school problems. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Morgan, who's on here and has like shared some comments, is currently teaching a course online. So props to all of the, especially printmaking teachers that are forced to teach printmaking on the internet.
The most analog technology ever, virtually.
Yes, this,
Yeah.
but in your
Guess
bedroom.
Yeah, just, you know what? Today we're going to manufacture a printing press for your apartment building. All right.
This is your
next
printing
share.
press.
Yeah, exactly. It's called a spoon.
Yes.
Hope. Good luck.
Ooh.
Here, I'll hold it. Let me talk.
So my endeavor this week was this is my print. I finished a print this week. I feel so good about myself. I managed to get up in January 2021 and do something.
That's fantastic.
This is a 4-color screen print. It's called Time Dilation, and it deals with the themes around the scientific phenomenon of time dilation, where one user's experience of time can differ according to another user's experience of time, depending on their location and proximity to gravity or to acceleration. And it's a really weird thing where like time isn't just
so complicated.
Time like can be like very, very strange. So I was really excited about this. I made a full-on video process of this. So I have video of absolutely everything, of the very first failed idea when I started drawing this, to the drawing of this project, to shooting screens, to mixing ink, to screen printing each layer, to talking to Chrissy about the fact that I thought I had 100 sheets of a different type of paper, but I didn't, and having to scramble to find enough paper to make an edition. And I'm really excited because I'm going to start putting it together as a video, and I'll release that sometime next week.
It's going to be in real time, though, right? So that everyone understands
Dear God.
the lengthiness of the process.
Yes, so we're making a full, feature-length docuseries,
Yes.
The hours
Netflix
so
style, of just one singular art piece.
Yeah. It's going to be like a new thing, realism in Netflix.
I've been curious if this is an actual curiosity that I'm not making up, because we have a lot of different video ideas, and one of them I'm like, oh man, I wonder if you're allowed to hire someone on Cameo, the website Cameo where famous people can read stuff for you. I wonder if you can hire someone on Cameo to do an intro to a YouTube show. I'm sure there's probably some contractual thing in there that doesn't allow you to do that because you're sharing it, to potentially, for us, potentially 200 people.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's a good idea. If you can't do it, you should invent it.
Well, I'm seriously considering asking someone, somebody like B level famous. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna go for like Snoop Dogg or someone
No.
who's gonna be like no. But like I know that he's on there. That's why I made that reference. I
Yes.
don't really know all the people that are on Cameo, but there's a lot.
There are a lot. Someone told me
yeah.
Jan Arden. They got like Jan Arden for their mom or something, and I was like, I love that. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, so good. Yeah, see? Leanne knows. Leanne knows where it's at on Cameo. Also, thanks, Freya, for the comment. Read Kyle's print. Okay, so yeah, that's our last share.
Oh, I love it. Okay, my last share is this print.
Ooh.
If Morgan's still here, she'll probably be able to recognize who did this one. Can you see it has a wee little match. Thank you.
On?
I forgot words. Yes. It is glued on surprisingly well. The glue looks
don't
maybe.
Don't try to pick it off. Just
okay, whoa.
You're like, how well though? Oh, not well enough.
Well enough that it was like in. Oh yeah, so Morgan, who's Wetter Spoon, she just added the artist there. But it's Andrew Benson. So this was also part of an exchange from a Snap members print exchange.
Nice.
And it's a screen print. I think it's just 2 layers. He does a lot of graphic design, so it's very like clean and beautiful.
Clean and lovely.
Yes, but I believe it's titled Downtown Revitalization Strategy. So I feel like this is
significance.
Yes, I feel like it's a very timely print to look at. I don't know what it's like in Prince Edward County or wherever anyone else is, but in Toronto, it's so sad. Like walking down Queen Street, which is the studios between Queen and King. It's just crazy. Like there's so many buildings that are boarded up or closed or just ready to be demolished.
I was looking at a story that a friend posted of all of the restaurants that have closed down in Toronto.
Yeah. They're all just going to be like A&Ws, weirdly, or like pot shops. I think just one or the other. It's the only thing that can survive.
Hand in hand.
I guess.
I love how clean that last print is.
Yeah. Here, I'll show it again.
Like, just using like the simple line drawing and the little bit of red that brings the match and the door together. Oh, so good. So
very
good.
Lovely.
Yes.
Graphic Arts Building, is that what the building is?
Yeah, I think it was an actual building in Edmonton. I don't know if it still exists anymore, but yes, Andrew I think also shares an affinity for like, old buildings and weird signs that I think most people can get behind, but I've just also been thinking about it with the like diners and stuff. So yeah.
The building in Andrew's print was a rad DIY music venue for a bit. Oh, did it really get torn down?
I'm guessing. Like when I moved to Edmonton, there were legends of how it used to be like Rock City. There were like 30 music venues. I think there were basically 2 that would have anyone worth seeing. Yeah, it was very sad.
That is sad. I've never been to Edmonton.
Yeah, it's cool.
Too north.
Some of these people who are in the conversation.
Maybe the city. Somebody said maybe the city is holding on to it and they're just not letting anybody do anything with it.
It's still up. Okay,
yay!
That's good.
That's great, but also not great that it's just up but doing nothing.
Yes. Until someone burns it down.
I mean, there was a building here, well, not in Picton, but in Bloomfield, so part of Prince Edward County, was an old canning cafeteria. I think it was like a cafeteria for people that worked in the cannery.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong about that, but I feel fairly, it has to do with canning anyway. And it's a weird shaped building, and it's like big but not really big. It's like medium size, so you can kind of do stuff in it, but it's not like you can have like a real event space there. Mm-hmm. And the city just had it, and was doing nothing with it. And so a group of like creative minded folk, not all of them were artists, but like interested in the arts, just kind of pitched a project to, I guess, probably Bloomfield or Prince Edward County in general. And they probably had to pay some nominal amount of money, but it would have been like a huge decrease in value because the building was doing nothing, to revitalize it and turn it into a nonprofit like arts space, which I just think is like, yeah, so it was just like a group of people that were like living in Bloomfield and being like, something has to be done with this building that's doing nothing and just deteriorating. And so, yeah, they just kind of went out, they built a proposal, they created a plan, and then they pitched it to the city. And in the space, I mean, they've been open now for quite a while. It's called the Baxter Art Center. It's a darling little space.
6-7 years?
Must be, yeah.
Quite a few years that project's been going.
Yeah.
Initiative, you know? That's all it takes.
Yep. And then also a lot of people that are just so committed to it that even when it's like a struggle and a nightmare, they're like, we will not let it die.
It's like a cost sunk value thing where after a certain amount of time, you're like, there's no going back. Like, it must be this way.
We're in it now forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's sweet.
This was really wonderful, and we're so glad that you got to be our first guest and that you got to be in your space and share that with us.
Yes, me too. And thank you for having me. It's been amazing, and I miss you guys.
We miss you too.
Yeah.
One day we'll be allowed to like leave our building and we can come print in your shop, and then you can come back here and print in our shop, and we can just print together again and make more tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah.
We regularly reference the tattoos that we made with you.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
It was such a highlight to my life.
I've always thought about making more. Maybe one day, you know.
One day.
No one can get real tattoos right now, so like we should just go into the fake tattoo sticker business.
Yeah, there we go.
New business model.
We might jazz up the tagline there, but you can't get a real tattoo, so here's like a fake tattoo sticker type object for you to put on your skin sometime in your home.
Yeah. Has not been FDA tested. Yeah. Has only been tested on Chrissy's.
But she gives a 5-star review, so.
Yeah. There you go.
As some people know, all of our flat files are posted on IGTV for a little while after. The timeline is completely arbitrary. We don't really have one. And then it goes up on our website and YouTube for a bit, and then they're taken down, but the full library is on our Patreon. So if you want, there's like 36 episodes from last year that are
amazing.
Yeah. So that's the show for the day. Thank you so much.
We'll be back next week with a different studio.
But we don't know who yet because nobody can get into their space.
We'll figure it out.
Awesome. Well, have a great weekend. Thanks everybody for joining and commenting and liking. All of that is so appreciated and great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, you're frozen.
You're slightly frozen.
Bye.